The story begins with reporters swarming around a young man, shoving their cameras and microphones in his face. They bombard him with questions. Did he really clear an A-rank gate alone? Is it true he subdued an S-rank hunter? Has he been manipulating his awakening level all this time? The man, known as Kim Gyeryok, looks at them as if ready to throw hands. Inwardly, he thinks that his success in the hunter profession was nothing more than a combination of luck and bluffing. In reality, he considers himself a fraud. As the reporters press on, asking about his future plans, Kim finds himself confused and overwhelmed, much like a student zoning out in class. He mutters sarcastically that if he had any plans, things wouldn't have turned out like this. He wonders what will happen if the truth about him being an F-rank is exposed. He knows that the S-rank hunters he supposedly subdued would crush him without hesitation. Kim reflects on the mess he's in, especially after forming an agreement with a top-ranked hunter during a recent gate raid. To him, it's nothing short of a complete disaster. Like a weary celebrity, he finally declares no comment. But the paparazzi only grow more persistent. They press him harder, asking if his response means he's admitting to all the rumors. Realizing the futility of trying to explain, Kim gives up. He knows that no matter what he says, the next day's headlines will be disastrous. Frustrated, he's tempted to quit the hunter job altogether. One of the reporters calls him by name, Hunter Kim Gyeryok, prompting him to glare coldly and snap, "I said no comment, you mammal brats." The reporters freeze, stunned by his words, before bombarding him with even more questions, demanding clarification. Kim thinks bitterly that no matter what he reveals, whether he's a secretly powerful being or just a worthless F-ranker, life on this rotten planet wouldn't get any better for him. At this moment, Kim's thoughts drift back to the start of it all, to when he wrote his resignation letter. He remembers the truth he has kept hidden. He's not even from Earth. His original home is Alari, a planet with a highly advanced magical civilization. There, he had held the esteemed role of the strongest wizard, a position of great importance. But one day, the desire to quit his job struck him. On Alari, being a wizard was considered a form of social service. The work was grueling, unpaid, and unrelenting, spanning 640 days a year without any breaks. Advancements in technology had eliminated the need for sleep and food, turning endless labor into a norm. Kim couldn't even recall the last time he went home on time. The planet's work culture, he thought, was nothing short of toxic. The real problem, however, was figuring out how to resign. His position was so significant that quitting wasn't an option. Strict restrictions were in place to prevent high-ranking individuals like him from abandoning their duties. Teleportation magic triggered electric shocks to the brain, and escaping the worksite was impossible since the entire planet was under the ruler's control. Killing his superiors? Out of the question. He was magically bound not to harm anyone from his planet, including himself. Even suicide was impossible. As Kim pondered his predicament, a groundbreaking idea struck him. The restrictions controlled his body with magic, but they couldn't confine his soul. No magical technique had been developed to trap a soul, meaning he could potentially escape by leaving his body behind. Driven by this realization, Kim spent over a decade perfecting a new form of magic, soul manipulation. After countless trials and errors, he finally succeeded. By separating his soul from his body, he could travel to a distant planet where the rulers of Alari could never find him. It was a revolutionary breakthrough, the first successful possession and reincarnation in history. The protagonist wakes up to find himself in a new body. As he adjusts, he senses something odd, a long protein-like mass moving within him. Fortunately, the original soul of the body seems to have left not too long ago. Rising to his feet, he confirms that his reincarnation magic has worked, thinking to himself that reincarnation is a trivial feat for someone of his caliber. Testing his surroundings, he realizes that his language substitution magic is functioning seamlessly, and he encounters no issues moving the body. However, something feels off. His memories of this body are fragmented, scattered like broken shards. According to his plan, he should have inherited the body's memories perfectly, so much so that even the closest family members wouldn't notice the soul had changed. But now, he finds himself unable to recall anything significant. Suddenly, a sharp stabbing pain shoots through his abdomen. Alarmed, he wonders if something has gone wrong with the reincarnation. Just then, fragmented memories flood his mind. revealing that this body had starved to death. Reflecting on his reincarnation conditions, he remembers the rules he set. Rule number 1 was to reincarnate into the creature with the highest magical power on the planet. Naturally, this would lead him to a species with the highest intelligence. However, he realizes his oversight. He hadn't considered the physical state of the body. While he thought he could handle any form, even a single-cell organism, this body's state is far worse than anticipated. As the pain in his stomach intensifies, it feels like acid is corroding his insides. His magic isn't functioning properly yet, which he attributes to needing time to adjust to the planet's unique magical environment. For now, he needs to find food to alleviate the pain. Looking around, he notices the light streaming through the window. The brightness shocks him. His previous home was a dark and bluish world, shrouded in liquid starlight. The warmth of this light and the dry atmosphere of this new world feel alien to him, as does the solid ground beneath his feet. However, he pushes aside his wonder. His immediate priority is survival. Despite searching extensively, he finds nothing to eat. Frustration boils over, and he shouts in anger, demanding to know what kind of planet this is. Suddenly, he understands why the body's previous owner starved to death. As despair sets in, he notices an insect crawling along the road. Though it's small and unappetizing, he decides not to be picky. Just as he's about to eat it, he spots a young boy walking by, drinking orange juice. Fragmented memories inform him that children are called young here. The sight of the juice captivates him, and he discards the insect, focusing on the more appealing food source. Now contemplating whether to steal the juice, he begins following the boy. Sensing danger, the boy glances back and sees the protagonist, whose suspicious appearance immediately prompts him to run. The protagonist, unsure of how to react, looks around and spots some flowers in a pot. Though they don't appear edible, he decides to eat them, reasoning that it's better than stealing. Suddenly, a loud scream pierces the air. Assuming it's the boy, the protagonist rushes to investigate. He finds the boy, terrified, standing in front of a massive bird-like monster. The boy tries to flee, but the bird chases him, destroying everything in its path. The boy stumbles and falls near the protagonist, who finally sees the monster up close. It's enormous, as large as a house, and its presence leaves the protagonist wondering just how wretched this planet truly is. Surprisingly, he sees an opportunity in this situation. The body he's inhabiting retains memories of eating birds, which suggests they are a viable food source. For the first time since his reincarnation, he feels he has found prey worth hunting. As the Grand Sorcerer, he believes he could eliminate this bird with a mere gesture. Once he adapts to the planet's magic, conquering this small world would be child's play. Just then, a wave of immense magical energy courses through him. He is stunned by the abundance of magic on this planet, comparing it to diving into a vast swimming pool after being accustomed to small buckets. He marvels at the potential of this world, calling it a jackpot. The boy runs up to him, pleading for help. Annoyed, the protagonist sighs, thinking how absurd it is for a human child to ask an alien sorcerer for assistance. Still, he agrees to help on one condition: the boy must give him the orange juice. The bird closes in, and the boy, crying in fear, agrees to the deal. However, the protagonist is irritated to see the boy foolishly running with his back to the predator. He orders the boy to stay behind him, boasting that as the head of the first magic division, he could disassemble the bird's bones from its flesh with a mere gesture. He prepares to cast a spell, but nothing happens. Confused, he assumes his failure is due to the unfamiliar environment and tries again. He attempts an explosion spell, then a water spell, and finally curses. All to no avail. As his efforts repeatedly fail, his confident expression begins to falter. He starts to wonder, why isn't his magic working?